All right, all right, all right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Uncomfortable Chat. We got a good one in store for you today. We've got the former head coach of the Washington Redskins and Arena Football League legend, Jay Gruden, joins us on the pod today. We talk all things golf, football, family, and we have a really good time on the six-pack of questions at the end, thanks to his brother, John, who managed to give me some nice, dirty details on him. So hope you guys enjoy the podcast. I know I had a blast laughing along with Jay and enjoying the stories, and I think you'll enjoy this one too. So without further ado, I give you guys Jay Gruden. Beautiful. 3, 2, 1, let's roll. I want to welcome on a very special guest to the pod today. We've got a 6-time Arena Bowl champion, 4 as a player, a Super Bowl champion as a coach with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the former head coach of the Washington Redskins, and a 5-time award winner as the PGA of America's Sandbagger of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Jay Gruden. Welcome to the pod, Jay.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Steve.
It's good to have you on, bud. Good to see that smiling mug again. It's been a while. So I know you spend your summers up in the Virginia, D.C. area, and then you come back down to Jacksonville for the wintertime. So you're just living in the best golfing environments year-round.
Yep, trying to do the best I can to better my game, but it's not getting much better. You know, I'm about a 5 handicap now, and I think it'll stay around there for about another year or two. Then I'll go up to 7 to 10 as I get older. But I'll never get lower than that because I can't putt.
Well, I assume you got to keep the handicap up for all your tournaments. I know you're getting ready for a member guest this weekend, and I assume that's where your handicap kind of peaks on the high end, and then when you don't have tournament time coming up for a while, you get it back down to where it should be.
Yeah, something like that. No, I am not a sandbagger like you introduced me as. I am not a sandbagger. I used to be an 8. You could consider me a sandbagger then, but now as a 5 or a 4.5, I'm a very below average 4.5. I'm one of the best in the world at 8.
I'm not going to lie. When we first met, I think you were playing to around a 9 or 10, and it was impossible to beat you. It was absolutely, no matter what I did, because you would somehow shoot 78 with like 2 triples and a double or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my style.
You were brutal. Nobody could beat you. But yeah, I assume you'll be just fine this weekend at the member guest, and wish you some luck out there. So what else is new in your world these days before we get diving into questions here?
You know what? I do a lot of, I took a job with Underdog Fantasy. We do a podcast on a YouTube channel called Clean Pocket. Me and Colt McCoy and AQ Shipley and Justin Pugh. And it's fun. We just talk football. I do some predictions like higher, lower receptions and yards and all that stuff for Underdog. So it's been a way for me to stay involved in football without being totally discarded from the sport. So it's fun for me to do that. And I love working with Colt. So that's an avenue. I do a couple radio shows in the DC area with Grant and Danny and Chris Russell and some other people there. So it's fun. So I stay involved in the game.
No, that's great. That's great to hear. Have you been able to keep track of your gambling record on Underdog? How should the people be diving on to your picks here and logging into Underdog?
At Coach Jay Gruden at Twitter or X, whatever it's called, at Coach Jay Gruden. It's pretty good. It's I'm like 12-3 probably for the. I do the primetime games. Usually I pick one play like somebody higher receptions or lower yards or whatever. Go pretty good, Steve.
Yeah, you want to? Does that count the Jamar Chase whiff last couple nights ago?
That does. I had a Jamar Chase whiff. I had a can't remember. I can't remember the other two. The other day, I had on my Clean Pocket, I had Jaden Reed's higher yards, and he got hurt in the first half, so I don't count that. He had 6 catches for 30 yards in the first half and got hurt, so
yep,
I don't count that as a no.
Nope, can't put it on you for injuries. I'll give you a pass on that one.
Thanks.
Well, yeah, of course. I'll have to go check them out here later. So one of the parts of the podcast that we are kind of focusing on as well is not only the fun sports side of things, but also we want juniors, college, athletes, and then parents of those athletes to be able to listen in as well and try to give them some kind of an idea of the best way to be parenting their children growing up, and then as far as the children are concerned, or their prospective professional athletes, what they might expect in going forward. And that being said, can you just tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up in a household with two brothers, and how your parents were with all the sports you guys were, I'm sure, involved in?
Yeah, obviously my dad was a football coach, so he wasn't there a whole lot. And my brother John and my oldest brother Jim, who's he's a radiologist, big time radiologist in New York and North Carolina. They were totally opposite as brothers. One was a very smart intellectual guy, one was a jock, and they fought every single day. But my brother John and I, we played sports. Obviously, growing up, my mom was very supportive, went to every event that we ever had, and it was a very athletic family. Got to go to all the games my dad coached, so we really got to be, a part of what it's like to be not a coach and involved in a big time organization. Like he was at Indiana, he was at Notre Dame, he was with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we understood the work ethic it took to be successful and be involved in that type of sport, and the effort and all the things that he had to go through to be successful, to be a running back coach from Dayton, from high school to Dayton to Indiana to Notre Dame to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then eventually in the scouting world at the San Francisco 49ers. But to be a part of all that and be a fan and be able to sit in meetings, be able to go to the practice fields, and then be involved in sports myself with a supportive family and brothers and all that stuff was absolutely was great for me.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good to hear. And on a side note, I didn't know he was at Indiana. I'm obviously a Hoosier and went to school there and love the Hoosiers. It's nice to see them
Yeah,
finally
he
getting
coached
back
for
in.
Lee Corso back in the day.
Yeah, good old Lee. He still gives
We had
Indiana
that
quite a
game.
few
We had
shout
that game
outs.
where we took a lead. I think it was Ohio State. We took a lead 3-0, and he called timeout to take a picture of the scoreboard.
Hey, it counts.
Yeah,
It counts. If only there was some lightning or something in the area, maybe they could call it. Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I want to take a quick minute to thank our first ever sponsor at the Uncomfortable Chat, Slipstream IT, a company redefining IT for life sciences. At Slipstream, they partner with a purpose, and they believe in the power of technology and the life sciences to enable people to live healthier, more fulfilling lives. You can learn more about Slipstream at slipstream-it.com. Thanks again to Slipstream. Now back to Jay Gruden. Oh, that's really good to hear. Well, as much as I'd love to sit here and stroke your ego about your Hall of Fame Arena League career, I'm more curious about your coaching days afterwards.
Yep.
So you obviously worked your way through the coaching ranks, starting in the AFL, the Arena League, then headed to Tampa to coach alongside your brother with the Buccaneers, where you guys won a Super Bowl there. Then back to the AFL before catching your big break as the offensive coordinator for the Bengals. Can you tell me a little bit about stepping into that position and the preparation involved in getting an offense ready to roll in the NFL?
Well, first of all, I was very fortunate my brother got the job in Tampa because I was playing and coaching in the Arena League in Orlando. So I was able to do that in the off season, and then I could coach with my brother for 7 years with Tampa Bay and really learn the 11-man game as opposed to the 8-man game. Obviously, totally different. So I was fortunate to be an offensive assistant, quality control guy for 7 years for my brother. And then when the Arena League folded, my brother got fired all at the same time. Seemed like within months of each other. The UFL opened up, and Jim Haslett was a head coach, and he asked me to be offensive coordinator, United Football League, which is now the United Football League. It's a different league, though, is when Haslett and Jim Fossil and Denny Green were head coaches in that league. It was a good league, about a 5 or 6 team league. So I did that for a year. Haslett went to the Redskins to be defensive coordinator, so I got the head job for the UFL, the Florida Tuskers, for 1 year. And then out of the blue, Marvin Lewis called me to come interview for a position on a staff with the Bengals. And I wasn't sure what it was going to be, and ended up being an offensive coordinator. And somehow, I have no idea to this day how I got that job from the UFL. It was crazy. I'm glad he gave it to me. I think part of it was because it was the year we drafted Andy Dalton. It was a strike year, so there was no off-season program. It was just training camp, and that was it. And I convinced them that I got through a whole playbook with 3 weeks of practice before our UFL stuff, and I said we could make it work with a young quarterback and all that stuff, and it ended up working out. We had 9-7, and then 10-6, and then 11-5 my 3 years with the Bengals there. So it was a very fun time for me. And then I got the job at Washington with the Redskins, of course. And, the first year we had tough times. Second year we went to the playoffs. Third year we were a game away from going to playoffs. And then all hell broke loose with a bunch of injuries and issues with Trent Williams, and Alex Smith broke his leg, and then Colt McCoy broke his leg. And, we had some draft picks that kind of went not my favor that I wasn't happy about. So then I got fired. And here I am today. Oh, I did coach 1 year with the Jaguars during the COVID year with Doug Marrone, which is an interesting time of football for me because you couldn't really get together in meetings. You had to be far apart. You could,
Yep.
I don't count that as a year coaching. I thought that was pretty stupid of the way we went about practice and everything. It's just, but the players could talk in the huddle like right this close, but we couldn't get near them. It was just goofy. It was a crazy time. So that was basically my career in a nutshell, and very fortunate to make a little bit of money. Now I kept the place in Virginia because we still have a lot of friends up there, and I love the course that I'm a member at Creighton Farms. We just downsized there, and then we bought a little place here at Atlantic Beach. Love it. This is an unbelievable place down here. Member at Atlantic Beach Country Club, and I'm right by the water, so you can't beat it. It's perfect place.
Yes, it's definitely a secret little spot up there that where everybody was up there is trying to keep quiet because they don't want people moving in, but it's an awesome little place to live for sure.
Well, that's a good thing, is it's small enough where I don't think there's a lot of room for people to move in. There's not, It's not like there's houses going up like crazy. There's nowhere to put them, so I think it's pretty much maxed out.
You got it. So I want to kind of go back to your Redskins days real quick. So when you were finishing up with the Bengals, you took interviews with the Chargers, the Eagles, the Colts, the Cardinals, the Rams, the Jaguars, all for head coaching positions. And then you ended up getting hired for the Washington Redskins in 2014. I'm curious what drew you to Washington, especially knowing the owner at the time wasn't the most liked guy to work for.
Well, after my first season as offensive coordinator at the Bengals, I basically told the media or told people that I was not going to entertain any head coaching offers. And the next day, the Colts opened up, and they had the first pick in the draft. And they got Andrew Luck. That was probably the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. But then after 2012, after the second year, that's when I interviewed for the Eagles. I thought I actually was going to get the Eagles job, but then Chip Kelly came out of nowhere. He ended up getting a job with the Eagles. He took the Eagle job, and I thought I had a chance with the Jaguars, and Gus Bradley ended up getting the Jaguar job anyway. So I didn't get one of those. I interviewed at Arizona too. And then the third year, after my third year, my first interview was with the Redskins, and they offered me the job basically on the spot. I was like, I can't turn down this money. And I knew Bruce Allen from the Buccaneer days. Yeah. And I knew they had RG3 and Kirk Cousins. I knew they had a lot of issues. They weren't very good, but most times when you get a head coaching job, you're taking over a team that's not very good. Very few times you get to take over a team with a number one draft pick at quarterback, or those coaches keep their jobs.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of issues at Washington. I knew that. I thought I could fix it. I thought we did a pretty good job. We went to the playoffs. We were 9-7 my second year.
Yeah.
They were a train wreck the last year with Shanahan, and we were a train wreck my first year. But then 9-7, and we lost to the Packers at home in a playoff game, pretty damn close game.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I liked Washington. I liked Bruce, and meeting Dan. I didn't really, back then I didn't really have. I knew Dan as a guy that just spent a lot of money, and that's not a big issue for me. If he at least he went out and tried to get free agents, like he went out, the years he went and got Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders and all those big wig guys, and it never worked out. But at least he tried. And then once you worked with him a little bit, then you realize why the hell people talk bad about him, because he's not a very nice fella.
Yep. Well said. Well said. So as far as the athletes are concerned out there, the internal motivation is something that all world-class athletes have to have in order to succeed. As a head coach, how did you best motivate your players to be the best version of themselves while also juggling 53 personalities in the locker room?
It's very difficult. It's something you actually, I thought more about that part of coaching more so than actually play design and all that stuff, which is crazy. Like, what am I going to say in my Saturday night meeting? What am I going to say after a win? What am I going to say after a loss? How do I get these guys going on a Wednesday afternoon, the seventh Wednesday of the year? Everybody's starting to feel we're doing the same old shit a different day type mentality. And that's the most difficult part of it, in my opinion. Some guys don't need motivated. Some guys are self-motivated. And those are the guys you want to go after in the draft and free agency. And you can kind of get a gauge for their production in college and talking to their coaches or whatever, what kind of guy they are. And those are the guys you got to target. You got to target they're perfect for your culture. They're good for your team. You can't lose when you have guys that are self-motivated, great people type players. And unfortunately, not everybody's like that. So the guys that aren't like that, you got to figure out ways to motivate. Otherwise, you got to get rid of them and send them to a different team because they're bad for your locker room. They're eventually not going to be a good enough player for you because they're going to have to be spoon-fed everything. And you don't have time to spoon-fed these guys everything. You need self-motivated guys that work their ass off.
Yeah, no, great answer. Really good. Yeah, I can't imagine trying to juggle that many personalities, especially with, you've got some guys that are the shy, quiet types that just go out there and do their job. Then you have the other ones that just want to, the camera in their face all the time, trying to build their brand.
Ryan Kerrigan was a perfect example. He doesn't say 2 words. I couldn't make him a captain because he never talked to anybody, but he didn't need any motivation. He was always the first one out of practice, the last one to leave, first one in the meeting room, played his ass off on every snap. You want, 53 Ryan Kerrigans, but you're not going to get 53 Ryan Kerrigans. You're going to get some other slappies that think they're on Twitter all day or they're look at their Facebook page and sending pictures of themselves somewhere else, that are late for meetings and don't practice hard. So those are the guys you got to get to. And it helps to have guys like Kerrigan that are your best players that are also self-motivated that really have an impact on your team in a positive way.
Yeah. No. I always loved watching Ryan Kerrigan play. And that's kind of the mentality he gives off when you watch him play, or the personality is that he's just out there to get his job done. And he's going to be really good at his job. And he's put the time in away from the field to get himself ready to go. So, yeah, great example there. One of the other things, I've always been fascinated with the stories out where the NFL coaches are sleeping in their offices and putting in 30-hour work days. And, was that something you'd do? And how did you deal with the overwhelming stress of being a head coach in the NFL?
I tried not to sleep in my office. I might have done it like once or twice. Like sometimes if we got back late from a road game, I might sleep in the office and I had to get up early. But I really, my thing was to get in early and try to get out at a normal time. So I try to get my 5-6 hours of sleep if possible. But it is a grind. And dealing with it is tough just because, I might have to take like a 10-minute nap during a day. Like I might lock my bathroom door and lay a blanket down in there and just take a 10-minute cheat nap because it's hard to function sometimes. And you lose creativity when your brain's tired, and when you're tired, you're walking around like a zombie and you're not, the energy. You need energy to coach in the National Football League. You need constant energy. That's why I have so much respect for Sean McVay, Raheem Morris. They guys I worked with, they have nonstop 24/7 energy and they don't need sleep. I need a little bit of sleep. Otherwise, need a shot. I go sit in a cryo chamber to try to get some energy, maybe take a shot of coffee or whatever. But that's the toughest part. And then obviously managing the players, but just trying to stay on top of your creativity, your mind, your focus, your ability to think and process and motivate. And it's hard when you're up that many hours.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can't imagine. I see it's wild to me watching guys when they first start as an NFL head coach and then give it about 3 or 4 years later, and it looks like they've aged 10 years. And it's just the stress and the overwhelming, just nonstop, all day, every day scrutiny of their teams and their the play calling and whatnot. I mean, the head coach is going to answer for all of the other assistant coaches, even when the head coach might not be making the decisions. So.
Well, you sleep a lot better when you have Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady as your quarterback or Josh Allen. You can go to bed a little bit earlier knowing that every time you walk out on a field, you have a better chance to win than the other team. So
you're going to start with you're going to start with 25 points before they even take the field.
Yeah. I never had that luxury. Although Kirk played pretty good for us for a little bit. And then, we had Alex Smith for 9 games. We were 6-3 on top of the division by 2 games, and he broke his leg and all hell broke loose. But it'd be nice to have one of those elite Hall of Fame type guys.
Oh, I'm sure. And by the way, who did you guys get for that 3rd round compensatory pick for Kirk Cousins?
You know what? I don't even remember.
Oh, I saw the Twitter message the other night. I thought it was great.
I mean, we had a chance to trade him to San Francisco, or I think it might have been the Jets. We could have got 2 ones, a player or 2. I mean, we could have loaded up. Instead, we got a 3rd round compensatory pick.
Oh, live and learn, right? Live and learn. You don't need a franchise quarterback or a bunch of number 1s, do you?
Yeah, they're not worth anything. Just
Nope.
give away for nothing.
Nope.
Yeah.
So I always felt the PGA Tour could do a better job of making their quote unquote alumni still feel like they're part of the tour family, so to speak, once they're out of the game. I'm not sure if you're able to answer this question without getting in trouble, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on how the NFL treats their players once they either retire or are forced out of the game. And it seems that most professional sports organizations just capitalize on the players and then kind of spit them out when they're done.
Yeah, I think each team, well, the NFL in general, they have the insurance programs and they have the ways they invested their money. I think there's still chances for them to financially be okay if they save their money and do it the right way. But I think it's up to each individual team as far as once you're let go by a team and you're done playing for that team. I think they're responsible for a lot of the issues moving forward of alumni things and mental health things or injury type things. I think they still get taken care of in those regards. Financially, though, if they spend all their money and they're out of money, I don't think there's any help for them
Right.
that way. But
Yep.
there is help, and there are ways that the NFL and the individual teams do help players that have retired or are done. Now, the guys that get cut and only played like a year or two, I don't know if there's a whole lot of things that can happen. I think you have to be vested 4 or 5 years
Yep.
to have that help. The guys that come out of college and rookie free agents or whatever, and they get cut, I think those guys are pretty much on their own.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, I always thought that the tour could do something where if they're rolling through a city for a PGA Tour stop, and they have 5, 6, 7 alumni that are close enough to the area, invite them up there, have them play an offsite pro-am with some of the corporate sponsors, just to make them feel like they're had a part of the PGA Tour, and the players would enjoy it, the corporate sponsors would enjoy it, and just a different way to give back to others as well, while also taking care of your alumni.
It's also tough,
Like
I'm sure for golf and NFL, it's the guys that have worked their ass off their entire life to become a pro golfer, a pro football player, and then they never make it on tour or never make it in the NFL. And then they're like, what do I do now? Because this is what I have been doing my whole life and working towards this goal. And all of a sudden it's over. Those are the guys that unfortunately probably have the toughest time of, going to a real job and going to a whole different style of life.
I am I'm a firm believer in that. You and I are, very well about some of the mental health struggles I've been going through, and most of it was based on that. And I turned to alcohol to help relieve some things, but I knew that wasn't the problem. It was the fact that I spent 45 years of my life being Steve the golfer, and that's all I knew, and that's the person I was. That's how I viewed myself. And then all of a sudden you wake up and that person's dead, and you have no idea who you are, why you're here, what you're supposed to do next. And that scared the hell out of me, to be honest with you, enough to where I started making some really bad decisions. And luckily God gave me a second chance at life, and I'm here, and I'm here to help other people now. But I know exactly what you're talking about with those guys that they work their whole life to get to a certain position, and even if they do succeed for a while, then when they're done playing, what do we do now? Not everybody's going to be making hundreds of millions of dollars. So there's the guys are retiring when they're 27, 28, 29 a lot of times, and now they have their whole life ahead of them, but they've been playing football since they were 4 years old and don't really know what to do for the next chapter. So I think a big part of that is kind of understanding who you are as a person and having happiness all around you. So if you took that piece of your life away, that you're still a very holistic person. You're happy with the rest of your life around you. But yeah, that was a very good answer. I want to take a quick minute to thank our friends over at Future Birdies. Future Birdies is based in Charleston, South Carolina, and is a developing golf platform focusing on player wellness and performance, and is home to the #1 hat in golf. Visit futurebirdies.com to learn more, and make sure to enter promo code WHEAT, WHEAT, to get 20% off your first order. The nice folks at Future Birdies have also offered to give 100% of the proceeds of junior hats back to our Mulligan Foundation, which helps to bring mental health awareness to golfers, both professional and amateur. Future Birdies, aim high, go low. Before we let you go, I want to hit you with our 6-pack of questions. It's just 6 easy, fun questions to let that personality of yours shine even more.
Is it because I have a 6-pack is why you're calling it a 6-pack?
If I called it that, it would be the party ball of questions. But You and I spent too many days at the Atlantic Beach bar to know that that there's no six. You might have abs, but they're hidden right now.
Yeah, they are hidden.
All right, so the first one, I'm going to make you the general manager for a football team in a new league that I just created. It's a 4-on-4 football, and you get your choice of current players. But I need a quarterback, a running back, and 2 wide receivers. And then on defense, I need 2 secondary guys and either 2 linebackers or edge rushers. So pick me your all-star teams.
All right. Well, you're gonna have 2 edge rushers. Who's gonna block them in this 4-on-4 league with 2 receivers and a running back?
See, I don't need
let these guys run
complicated.
free and hit the quarterback in the face,
See,
or just a fantasy. They're not actually gonna play each other.
There we go. Thank you. I'm just trying to come up with a way here, and of course, I had to ask the NFL coach who's going to pick the question apart.
I'm just going to tell you, it's a shitty league. Quarterback's going to get killed. My quarterback would be obviously Patrick Mahomes. He's the best in the world. Now, if I had to have a scrambler, I'd probably take Josh Allen second. Lamar's a close third, and Jaden Daniels is really a close fourth. This guy's a monster. Joe Burrow's up there. But anyway, what's his name? Patrick Mahomes is by far the best. Top 2 receivers would be Tyreek Hill for his speed, playmaking ability. The other one would be Justin Jefferson because of his size, athleticism, and ability to go anywhere on the field. My running back would probably be – I'd probably go with the King. I like just the King Henry. I like the way he walks out of the tunnel. You see him walk into the tunnel the other day with his tank top on? He's the first guy off the bus.
Yes.
He's the first guy off the bus. So there you have it. There's my offense. My 2 edge rushers would be – probably Myles Garrett, obviously, and TJ Watt.
Okay.
Be my top 2. Obviously, the guy that just blew his leg out, the tibia, the kid for the Lions. He's really good too. Hutchinson and my guy for the Raiders is really good. But I got to go Watt and Garrett. And then you got 2 corners. Patrick Surtain Jr. is definitely number 1. Size, length, toughness. He's a bad son of a gun.
Yep.
And I'd probably go on the other side. There's a lot of really good ones, really, really good ones. I'd probably go Sauce because he's 6'1" and can run, But there's a lot of other really good ones that I like. But that'd probably be my group off the top of my head.
I think you picked exactly all 8 players that I would have picked. Tyreek Hill was the one I wasn't sure about, but like you said, speed. As far as speed's concerned, there's nobody better. Good team for sure. And yes, I know it's a shitty league, and we won't be playing anytime soon, but. You got the point eventually.
You might want to put a blocker in front of TJ Watt and Myles Garrett just for your league's sake.
Yeah, the 2 edge rushers with no line is going to be a little tough on Mahomes. So that's why we'll give you a backup quarterback or a scrambler.
Well, it's going to be tough if we just line up in a shotgun and throw a screen to Tyreek Hill. It's going to be tough for those 2 corners to make a tackle with King Henry blocking out in front.
Good point. Well, he's big enough. He might be able to take 2 of them out.
Yeah.
All right, so number 2, which one do you regret more? Getting into a Twitter war with RG3 or letting that ground ball go through your legs when you were 9 years old playing second base for the West Side Lions to screw up your brother's solid pitching day?
Ground ball through the legs. Yeah, that was a tough day. And I had to get in the car with him after the game. Man, that was a nightmare. It was a terrible feeling. I was second baseman, actually, and 9 years old playing a 9 through 12. I was still one of the best players at 9 years old. That's hard to do on a 9 through 12-year-old team. But my brother was the best by far, and he was a really good pitcher, good shortstop, good hitter. Played through through high school. But yeah, that was a tough deal, man. It was like a high bouncer, and I was up on it, and then it hit like one little pebble and just went shot underneath my legs. Jesus, yeah, that was tough.
I'll tell you,
the Twitter war was actually fun.
Oh, I bet it was for you, as much as you like jabbing people.
I stopped. I could have kept going, but my brother kind of got mad at me. My brother's like, "What the hell are you doing, man?" I go, "Well, he started it." Shit.
You sound like a 9-year-old again.
Golly, not my fault he didn't, succeed in the National Football League. He's blaming me.
I'll tell you the same thing I told your brother. The fact that I can't remember what I had for dinner 3 nights ago, and the detail you guys put into that story was shocking to me. 12-year-old, John and 9-year-old Jay just remember it like it was yesterday. But it's nice to see it still wearing on you. It's definitely wearing on him.
It is, and I can't remember anything either, but I remember tragic events like that. I mean, that was brutal. That was a terrible day for me. Little young Jay in his room. bowled up in a fetal position crying while John's outside the door yelling at him, calling him pumpkin head and loser. And I mean, that's really, really great for a 9-year-old kid. But I did bounce back, Steve, because I'm a tough son of a gun. I think that's part of why I see all these other guys. That was a tough day. That was a tough day. In fact, I'm going to go cry right now.
That question went so much better than I thought it would. I was afraid I was going to throw that out there and you wouldn't have a clue what I was talking about. Oh, man. That's going to be tough to follow up. So let's get back to the golf. So number 3, if you had 3 bucket list golf courses to play and 3 people to play them all with, where are we going and who are the other 2 besides me?
Oh, God. You know what? I don't know the Scotland and the Ireland courses. I hear they're tremendous, but I'm not a big traveler. I just kind of like to stay in my own little nest of areas. Augusta's number 1 for me, obviously. I would love to play with you, Steve. I'd like to see you hit a sand trap shot thin over the green again. That'd be fun. I would obviously want to play golf with Tiger Woods, the greatest of all time. You got to be a good-looking lady I'd like to play with, too. Can't really think of one. I don't know.
I guess Sherry's not in the room, your wife?
I'd like to play with Brad Pitt would be a fun guy to play with. Actor. Been around the world a little bit.
You're not worried that people would mistaken you for him? No.
I think they probably would. I did get to play with President Trump. That was quite the event. But I don't know, probably another golfer like Phil Mickelson or somebody like that. I'd probably find another golfer, another athlete, maybe Tom Brady. I'd like to play with Tom Brady just because I never really got a chance to meet him throughout my coaching days, just shaking his hand after a game. Peyton Manning would be fun. A lot of guys would be fun. Hell, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
When I think about it after this interview's over, I'll probably say, damn it, I should have said this guy.
Yep.
My dad. I can always do the my dad and brother answer. How's that?
You might owe your brother around anyway after the last story you told.
Yeah.
All righty. Good answer there. Number 4. So conditioning and nutrition are obviously a huge part of the NFL lifestyle. Is it true that while coaching the Redskins, you had your players on a steady diet of saltine crackers and Rondo soda?
Rondo. Yeah. Where'd you get this information? Was it his book or something like that?
Nope. I dug deep.
We did have a nutritionalist, and we had somebody to help with nutrition. You know, it's kind of the athlete's responsibility too. We provide the food to eat the right food at home and not just at the facility. But anyway, yeah, we had a nutritionist and and pretty good cook, I thought. I mean, some facilities are a lot better than others in the National Football League. That's just the way it is. But as far as Rondo and a saltine, I don't know if you remember that commercial, Rondo. It was a soda that didn't have the burning sensation, so you could chug it, right? So their whole commercial was, you know, if you're dying of thirst, here's a Rondo, and you could chug it. We're like, ooh, we got to try this. So we would go out for a run and chug some saltine crackers and chug a Rondo just because of the commercial.
Yeah, I heard that you would eat saltine crackers to make yourself thirsty just so you could chug more Rondo, and then you'd go back to the crackers, back to the Rondo, back to the crackers, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I was not the healthiest young buck in the world, but it didn't matter. I was still very athletic.
That's what I heard. I heard that you sat inside and you ate saltines and drank Rondo, and then you challenged your brother finally to a race. And not only did you beat him in a 1.2-mile race, you celebrated Rocky style and danced all around the front area.
I did. You know, enough's enough. Sometimes you poke the bear too much, you're going to get the claws. And that's what happened. You know, he just kept poking me. So I said, let's go for a race. And we came down our street. It's about, we had about 600 yards left probably. I took off in my long strides. It was a little short strided 5'9" ass, couldn't keep up. And I was gone. You know, that was in high school though, man. I wasn't that, I did work out a little bit. I was a Division I recruit. I mean, 5A first team all-state quarterback. I sat there like a dope all day. He's exaggerating as far as when I was little, I didn't do a whole lot, but in high school I worked out a lot.
He did say that you were an exceptional athlete, so I will drop that one in there. He and it drove him nuts that he was working his butt off all the time, running all the time, and then you finally challenged him to the race and still beat him. And he's like, that's just who Jay was. He was just an athlete, and he just found a way to get it done.
Yeah, that's just, it's the job. It's the job.
It's the job. That's what you got to do. Like you said, poke the bear. You know, be careful what you get. So, So, question number 5. This you might make your phone call to your brother after this one. What is the worst nickname you could be called? Sandbagger or ZB?
ZP, zit butt.
Zit
Oh
butt.
God. Well, ZB is a natural thing. Everybody has one every now and then. I think he might have. I don't think he ever saw my butt. He just called me ZB because I was eating sugar and stuff like that. Assumed sugar and soda caused zits, so he called me ZB because of my diet, not because I actually had zits on my butt.
Yep.
So that's not a bad thing. I think sandbagger is worse just because people think you're a cheater, and I don't cheat. I put in all my scores, Steve.
I know.
I put in all my
I
scores.
give you a hard time because I've lost enough money to you, but I like you a lot better at a 5. So I'll have to make a return up to the AB here soon, and I'll play you as a 5. I might be a 5 at this point, but I'll take my chances there. So the last question, we asked everybody the same question. So if 57-year-old Jay could go back and tell 23-year-old Jay the things that would help him to have a successful career and a well-rounded, happy life, what would he tell him?
Well, there's a lot of habits that I've incurred over the years that I wish I'd never started, but I think some of the bad habits have helped mold my character a little bit. It helped me meet some people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. Probably dumped that lady on the curb that I met when I was 23, my wife. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm really fortunate about the way my life turned out, to be honest with you. I mean, there's some events, like a daily event that I did some things, drank too much one time, or maybe made a couple too many bets at the horse track when I was younger that I wish I never did, obviously. But that's kind of, whatever. Nobody's perfect. But I've been very fortunate. My kids are all unbelievable. We get along great. Wife's still with me. My career, though I'm not a Hall of Fame coach in the National Football League, I thought I had a pretty successful stint being coordinator and head coach. Not many people become a head coach. Now at 57, I kind of can do what I want to do. The one thing I probably wouldn't have done as long as play arena ball, just because of my body right now, the way it feels. My knees are bad. I walk terrible. That would probably be the one thing. Hey, Jay, I think it's time to give up football after college. You didn't make it in the NFL. Let's just get into coaching and work on your coaching career. Although I had a ton of fun playing. I won 4 championships, Steve. I'm one of the best all time to ever do it.
Hall of Famer. I saw you were like
fancy.
number 4. You were like at one point you were the number 4 ranked player all time. Number 3 now. You're moving up since you retired.
I should have been number 3 ahead of George LaFrance. You can't pick a wide receiver over me. I mean, except for Eddie Brown. Eddie Brown's number 1. He's the father of Antonio Brown. Number 2 is Barry Wagner, who's an Iron Man. So I can understand no two.
But a wide receiver, they just
I'd say just the way my body, I think, has turned out. Just the stiffness and soreness. I would have taken better care of my body, my diet, and my body. I'd been more diligent about stretching and working out, and what I put in my body would be the one thing, because I shouldn't feel this badly when I walk on the course at 57. I still should have some pep in my step. That's about it.
Beautiful. Good answer. Well, Jay, you survived, bud. I appreciate it. Good having you on here on the Uncomfortable Chat, and I look forward to seeing you up at AB sometime here soon, and safe travels back to DC and getting yourself back down here. We'll get together here soon, but thanks for letting the people know a little bit more about you.
Well, definitely. I did some investments with you, so hopefully you're okay. I mean, my God, scaring the shit out of me.
What do you think paid for all that rehab?
You son of a gun. All right, I'll see you. Keep in touch, brother.
Yep, be good, man. Take care. Well, all righty, folks. That was certainly a great time with Coach Gruden there. As you can see, he doesn't take life too seriously. He's always having a good time, and dude can make me laugh more than pretty much anybody. He cracks me up. But I want to give a special thanks to our sponsors, Slipstream and Future Birdies, and also want to thank his brother John Gruden for making the 6-pack of questions that much better. I don't know who remembers a ground ball like those two remember a ground ball when they were 9 and 12, but what a great story. So thanks again for tuning in to the Uncomfortable Chat, and we will be back with you guys soon with another great guest and Look forward to talking then. Take care, guys. Bye.